Hey there, everybody. Douglas Scott McCarron. I want to talk about discovery and recovery and transformation, both personally and in music. Um, they're related. Learning music, learning to play the guitar, learning to be a human being, they're all interconnected. So there's going to be three of these. This one's going to be about discovery, then there's recovery, and then there's transformation. The word discovery doesn't mean to find something brand new, which is what I thought it meant when I was a kid. It means to uncover something. And it comes from back in, not sure where, it's pretty predominant in a lot of ancient history. But you have the fruit of your labor, the fruit of a tree. And then you have the tree, which kind of represents you or the way you are in the world. And then the tree goes down into the earth, and it has a bunch of roots that grow through the earth and gets nutrients from the earth. Nutrients come up to the tree, produce the fruit. Fruit falls back down, hits the earth, produces more nutrients. The idea of discovery is you uncover the roots. You take the dirt off of the roots. You discover the root. Discover the root of the problem, or discover the root of the fruit of your labors. And so, for instance, I used to be very angry and upset and pissed off. And underneath all that was a lot of things that happened when I was a child, and I made a bunch of choices that made me feel like I wasn't loved or what I wanted didn't matter. Part of that was, of course, I thought everything should be my way. As a child, at least for me and for most of the children I see, get violently upset if they don't get their way, and it's supposed to be this way, and if your parents stop you, then they're evil and bad. So when you discover that, uncover that, you get to understand why you may have some upsets about things, which would be the fruit. Musically, discovering has to do with understanding, figuring out what's behind it. When I started playing guitar, I was pretty limited to what I knew. Makes sense, because you can't know more than what you know. But to discover, uncover, you find out there's a whole bunch of theories and structures and thought processes and relationships between music and keys and chords, that the more you learn them, the more you can build interconnected thoughts and processes and types of musical structures that you didn't know before you learned all this. Makes sense, but learning it was a big, I don't know what this is. I can't learn it. I shouldn't learn it. It made me feel stupid, which was part of, my fruit, and I had to discover why that was. We talked about in an earlier video about inversions of chords. Like, you have your D chord, slightly out of tune. Sorry. Anyway, don't want to make a videotape of me tuning the guitar. But D, A, D, F sharp. Those are the notes. When I was young, I thought this right here was a D. But it also happens to be that this is also a D, because there's an F sharp, an A, and a D. So it's not the shape of the chord, it's the note patterns. When you learn that structure, you discover something, you uncover it. So I can sit here and go G sharp, B, E, that happens to be an E, and I've added an F, so now you got a E major with a 2 added. So that's discovering. Another thing, like when I first started, I would have a pick and I'd go, or very rocky, very fun and driven. But I then discovered later on, after learning to play with the pick for several years, that it was actually better to learn to use my fingers, where you can sit here and go. Oops. I know it's, now that I'm 70, I can't do it like I used to. But the thing about playing with your fingers, you go out, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. There's a whole chapter on this in 50 Steps of Guitar Greatness that I sell here. But you can sit here and go. That's very hard to do with the pick. So when you discover to learn with your fingers, uncover a brand new way of approaching music happens. Same thing with discovering why I was angry. You know, I went from life sucks, life is this way to, oh, I had these things happen. So I don't have to relate to it that way. I don't have to relate to chords like they're something to be afraid of. It's something new to learn. Whereas before it was, I don't understand it, so I'm dumb. That's the way I thought. So discovering is very useful. Discovering in personal things. Like a lot of people, you know, if you're going to be a musician, a lot of musicians tend to end up being very much into alcohol or drugs. Because there's this feeling they have that, you know, I don't want to universalize, but there's a feeling of I have to be the best. Or if I don't have a music contract, I'm a failure. You know, you could just sit at home and play the guitar for yourself. You know, if you want to make your living at it, yeah, that's a problem. You also have the fact that managers try to use your insecurities to control you to make the music the way they want it done. When you get a music contract, you don't necessarily get to play what you want. You know, if you put out music that the public likes, that's okay. But a lot of times the A&R people and the managers are more interested in producing what they want. And there are 10 billion bands. They can make them interchangeable. That's part of the music business, in case you don't know. Musicians are in it for their art generally, but your manager will talk about you and your music as the product, like it's Coca-Cola or something, which is kind of disturbing. Another thing to discover. If you're going to go into the music business, you should be aware that it's you're selling music to people. You're not necessarily playing music for people. So that's discovery. Looking at yourself, discovery is going in and seeing what the roots of the problem are. You also get this thing that it's not just one root. As you start uncovering the earth, you'll start seeing there's not just major roots. There's all these thousands of little tiny intertwined roots, you know, that go all over the place getting nutrients. This is also true in the psychology of a person. There's not just, I feel bad. There's like thousands and thousands of reasons why this is. Or I feel happy. There's thousands and thousands of this. Or, you know, like a lot of women are taught they have to act kind of dumb and allow themselves to be mistreated in order to get a guy to love them. I felt like as a guy that my feelings didn't matter, and if I didn't have a girlfriend, there was something wrong with me. It was all kind of weird. But, as you discover this and let it go, you can start recovering, which means once you got the roots done, you can recover. We'll talk about that in the next video. Anyway, thank you. If you like this, subscribe. If you want to come to my site, dsmccarron.com, you can get 50 steps to guitar greatness. I got my A Bit Twisted merchandise there. If you want to buy me a coffee or some PayPal, I'd appreciate it. Okay, we'll talk about recovery next. Thank you. Bye.